So I'm going to add this to both of the second and third parts because I didn't add this in the first part of the video, how I choose my units and build my decks. But I'm basically going to give you a quick primer of the way that I'm thinking about things when I'm building my decks and what's influencing my unit choices and if I'm going a particular playstyle. And I have three main categories for specific playstyles. So the first category is going to be a purely specialized category, meaning that you're foregoing anything else. You're not like worrying about any particular. I'm not going to focus on trying to be well-rounded and balanced. I'm just going to focus on being exceptional in one area and foregoing the rest. The second playstyle or approach for building decks I have is going to be a balanced specialized. So this balanced specialized is that you're still able to be exceptional in a particular area, but you're also going to make sure that you're well-rounded in other areas too. So that way you're able to cover your bases and not be put in any situation that you're not going to be able to handle, right? If you go say, I want to be exceptional in air, okay, well, I could focus on being pretty good in air, but I'm also going to make sure that I'm able to deal with infantry. I have pretty good reconnaissance. I have good armor. Like, I'm able to do all those things. I could counter any of those units with any of the units I have in my deck. And I'm not just going to be focusing on, okay, well, in the specialized deck, I'm purely focusing on being exceptional in just air. But if I want to be exceptional but also balanced, then I'm going to go the balanced specialization, meaning that I'm going to be the playstyle that I'm going to have when it comes to influencing how I build decks. It's just going to be able to be well-rounded, cover my bases, and have anti-armor, anti-infantry, reconnaissance, everything that I need in order to do the other areas of the game, but with a special focus in whatever area that I want to be sort of specializing in or exceptional in. And then it comes to our last approach for how I build decks or how I do the playstyle, which is just a purely balanced approach, meaning that I'm not being exceptional in any one particular area. I'm not trying to do one thing really well above all else. I'm actually trying to be completely well-rounded. I'm trying to be able to do a lot of things, but make sure that I'm focusing on the really highly being exceptional at covering all my bases, making sure that I'm not going to be put in any situation that I'm not going to be able to respond really well to. So that's what the balanced approach is going to be like, and that's what we're going to be doing when we're building our two test decks here. And so we're going to do our first test deck of the American. So I'm going to show you guys how I build this deck and then the units that I'm choosing, all based off the concept of a balanced approach. And I have other videos in the channel that cover this sort of balanced approach and my concept and theories that I have that are way more in depth than what I'm going to talk about here. This is just to be a basic primer for how I'm building these decks. So we're going to have the main test deck 1 for the US and then the test deck 2 for the Russians. So again, just a simple primer that I am going to be focused on doing a balanced approach. That means just covering my bases, making sure that I'm able to counter any particular unit that they could throw at me, make sure that any situation that could be presented, I'm able to respond to accordingly. And so that's what the balanced approach is, and that's what we're gonna use to influence our approach to deck building and unit decision. So that's gonna be the quick primer. Also, make sure you guys are subscribing if you do enjoy this content. It lets me know that I am doing a decent thing here and you guys want to keep watching these videos. Also, join our Discord. The link will be in the description below if you guys want a good community to join. So again, I'm only going to do 2. I was going to do 2 of each, but I think that's going to take a little too long. Test deck 2. So we'll choose the Russians, and let's see, what can we choose? I want something that's going to have a good mix, or we could use a lot of. So we take VDV, and we could take, let's go, let's see, let's go Guard Coastal. So for reconnaissance, let's see if we have any drones. Nice, we do. Ooh, I like the 4-push. These ones are, I believe, the low-flying drones. So let's go ahead and start with the drones first. Let me actually make sure I'm recording still. Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take 4 of these low-flying drones. So now I think I'm going to go ahead and take the thermal barrack. Doesn't have the same amount of, oh yeah, the penetration on this one's a lot better. But I don't think it's going to get close enough to even really do that much damage to enemy vehicles. I think we could probably use it more against enemy infantry, so we'll just take it with the thermal barrack. Thermal barrack. We'll take 4 of those, and then we have our main form of intelligence gathering or reconnaissance here for our drone. So we'll just take 2 of these, and then let's see if we can increase its sensors. Yep, I'm going to definitely do that. It does cost 15 more for 500. So let me think about it. I don't really want to use these for curing any of these. I'm not really too interested about that. So we'll just upgrade the sensors, keep it at 90, and we'll go ahead and use it like that. Go ahead and test, change the skins a little bit. So now we have our 2, this one for sort of sneaky or stealthily. reconnaissance drone, and then this is our basic reconnaissance drone that would be in the back line. Now let's look at what we could do for other infantry. So I like taking the PDSS, but let's see how it compares against the VDV Razvedka. Not as stealthy. Definitely doesn't have the same range. What about the Spetsnaz? Spetsnaz, again, not as stealthy. So I think I'll just stick with the PDSS, especially like again, like I like using this for my flanks and getting them in the back line to gather intelligence. So we'll go ahead and stick with 4 PDSS. And then my Morskaya. So we'll see. So we have our intelligence gathering for the flanks and also just sort of keeping them near. Yeah, mainly the flanks, keeping them in the back. I believe we can't laze with this unit. Yeah, no lazing. Our Morskaya. Spetsnaz. We could laze with our Spetsnaz. VDV. No lazing. VDV. Snipers. No, we could laze, and our VDV Spetsnaz. So we have, what do we want to do? What do you want to categorize this for? So we could have our sort of, do we have any anti-infantry reconnaissance units here? This one might be like the Rangers Reconnaissance. RPG 73. How many rounds does it have? Set 5. VSS RPG. We could use this one as a backline disruptor. It does have 2.5, 1750. Smoke. What are our VDV snipers? So this one, 90, oh, that's kind of expensive, 95. Spetsnaz VMF. This is sort of our counter infantry, or counter reconnaissance unit here. And also could laze too, so that's pretty good. It's only 80 as well. It's a little tricky. There's quite a bit of reconnaissance units that we have here, but I'm not entirely sure what we should take. So our Morskaya 70 versus, let's see how much our let's see. Let's hold these guys next to each other. Okay, so the main difference here is going to be the VDV snipers have, or not, I don't want to do the snipers, what's the other one? Here, these guys. Okay, so both 2.5, 1750, 525, 8. Okay, one is parachutable and what the other isn't. Now let's go look at their rocket launcher. So they're both shooting 105mm heat. The RPG-27 has longer distance. Both have the same penetration, and both do the same amount of damage. So the biggest thing here is going to be the amount and then the distance. So we have 5 shots with the RPG-73 and 3 shots with the RPG-27. But yeah, the same price. What should we choose? I like the additional 100 range for the Morskaya. With those 2 shots, honestly, I think 3 shots is what you're probably going to be best at getting. The 5 shots could come in handy, especially if you're using this as a backline, and you have to get close anyways. You know, I think I'll go ahead and go with VDV Razvedka. Mainly because, well, yes, we do have the decrease in range, and well, we have the increase in the amount of shots. So once we take out, let's say we have this in the back line, we take out a couple of artillery, we're still going to have enough to do some more damage there. And they're pretty cheap, so we could take, so we take 4 of them. Now our snipers, we could use this one mainly as a backline for gathering intelligence and also lasing enemy artillery. Or we could use our Spetsnaz for that. VDV Spetsnaz or Spetsnaz VMF. We can't laze with the regular Spetsnaz. And it seems like, what is this? BUR? Or an RPG launcher. Oh, it's only just 300 damage. Okay, we're not going to do that. Thermobaric launcher. I'm assuming this does, yeah. So this is like my anti-infantry unit. It's 6 of them, so that's pretty good. We could use this as a sort of CQC. Yeah, I would say this one would be our CQC unit. So I'll take 4 of those. We need something to laze. So either the Spetsnaz or snipers. That's just really expensive for snipers. 95. I think I'll go with the Spetsnaz VMF, because as long as I get them close enough, that 2.5 isn't really too bad, and it's 15 less points than what we would get the snipers for. What if we switch to suppress? Does it make them cheaper? Oh, it does make them cheaper. You know, now since it's cheaper, we could actually, I might actually just go for the snipers. Yeah, 85. It's only 5 more. We'll take 4 of those. So now we're looking pretty good here. We have our CQC unit. We have our backline disruptors here with the VDV Razvedka. And then we could also keep them a little bit in the front line since they should be a little stealthy. And so we could do some ambushes here with the RPG 73. We have our VDV snipers. We can maybe just take 3 of those for backline. Mainly, we can keep them in the front too. We'll just do the same thing we do for the US, is that we'll keep them in the middle and also in the back line for lasing enemy units and gathering intel, or just spotting them before they push us. VDV Spetsnaz as our CQC unit for recon, our Razvedka for our anti-armor ambushers and backline disruptors, PDSS for our flank watchers, and also scouting out enemy units in the back as well. But we'll just mainly utilize these for scouting the flanks, preventing them from pushing. We have our drones, so we should be good here for reconnaissance. And let's see if we could take any vehicles. I love taking the BTF. Oh no, we're not. That's too much already. Okay. Let's see if we could actually limit how much we take. So do we really need? Maybe just take 2 Spetsnaz, 3 snipers. I think that'll be good. Okay, now let's take how many BTF? Take 3 of those. Okay, now let's see how many can we. Let's go to our infantry. Ooh, got a lot here. So that's, let me take a little peek at what we have for vehicles. Ooh, we do not have much vehicles. T80V. What can we upgrade this with? Okay, we can make it pretty beefy, but we can't really do much since we don't have APS. That's gonna be a big problem. Spritz, Toros, anti-tank gun. What's the damage? What the piercing gonna do? Anti-air, I'm assuming. Yes. Autocannon. Cornet. How many shots? Only 4. It's not too bad, but it has like no armor whatsoever. Armor package. Even then, it doesn't really do much. So we'll just go back to infantry. So it looks like we don't have much vehicles. Support. Decent amount of support. Heli. Decent heli. Air. We have a lot of air. Alright, so we'll go ahead and go to infantry. Churney are pretty good. I like using them for counter infantry. We have some thermobaric missiles here. We could actually switch them to the grenade launcher, make it a little bit cheaper. And then it doesn't make that much of a difference. We have mainly just a machine gun and also with the addition of AGL. So definitely a little bit more capable when it comes to going against enemy infantry. But let's just focus first on getting our main front line. So let's look at these infantry and what options we have. So we have a lot of infantry here. So first, let's just go down the categories. Let's just go with our anti-heli. So we'll take 4 VDV Iglas. That's gonna be that's our one of our other categories. So we can just sort of do some cross of elimination here. We have VDV Iglas, so we're minusing our anti-heli. What about our anti-armor, anti-infantry, and just overall frontline infantry? There seems to be a lot of infantry here. So our Gornostrelki, let's see what they're gonna do. The anti-tank missile, Metis, they have 6 shots, 800 range. I'm already not liking that. Okay, I'm going to cross out this because I do not like the range on that. The Desantniki, only 500 millimeters of explosive damage. There's 10 of them. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Only 1 RPG. Not going to really be the best for me here. Okay, now this is the one I prefer to use, even though we have this one with 500 compared to 650. We do have less of them. So for 3 less, it's going to be 50 HP. So that's pretty good. So these guys are pretty beefy units. So I can see why these guys would be pretty useful. They have 400 meters, 600 with that. And then we go to Moskaya, 400, 400, 400. So these guys are like our medium range infantry attackers with really beefy. I mean, 50 hit points, that's pretty good. 8 armor points compared to our Motostrucky. 35 to 8. But these guys are going to do more damage too. Or since they have 5 of them, going to be able to put more pain on enemy vehicles, except with just the one RPG. It's going to take a while to load. Yeah, aim time 1 to 2 seconds. Each 5 of them carrying. So again, I'm not going to take the Gorno. The Sun, I could see a good use for these guys, especially going against enemy vehicles or enemy infantry, and having some enemy or some anti-armor capability. So I could see a good case for taking out the Desantki. If I want to have a more tanky infantry unit, then I would probably go for that one. If I want something with less tanking but more shots, a little more damage to enemy vehicles, then I'm probably going to go for the RPG-27, the Morskaya Pechota. We'll hold this for now. Let's see our other units and see what we can do. So we have VDV, DSH. So now we have 2, but look at this. Yeah, just way less now. 8 to 25, 5. This is just a tiny squad. And they don't do really, they're not really excellent at taking out medium to heavy vehicles. So, and there's so few of them, so they're just going to die really quickly. I want something that's going to be able to have a better survivability and still do a good amount of damage to enemy vehicles. So we'll not do no VDV DSH, and no Gorno Strelki. I think I'm either going to go Desantniki or the Morskaya. And the way that it seems, we have a lot of options for anti-armor. So I'm going to go ahead and actually take the Desantniki. So we're going to take a lot of these guys. We'll take all 6. So now we have our main infantry frontline here. They're going to be doing pretty good against other infantry, it seems, and with a decent capability against enemy vehicles. We're going to mainly focus these units on dealing with other infantry and holding the frontline. So yeah, that 50 HP is really good. So I'm not discounting that at all. Now let's go ahead and look at what we have for anti-armor capability. So we have our Conquerors. Let's go ahead and ping this, and then our Cornet. Let's just look at the range here. So both have an effective range of 1600, with the damage of the Cornet being an additional 2, with higher penetration up to 350 more explosive damage penetration. Ooh, so I'm thinking max speed, both of 720. Anti-tank, Cornet M, anti-tank missile. Conquerors M, ATGM. So these are just both at its basic loadout, both with 6 missiles. Cornet having 5 more hit points, 2 more armor points, 1 additional person. But it costs 40 more. That's a lot. So if I take 2 of these, I could take 3 of the Conquerors. So let's go ahead and upgrade this. Let's see what happens if we take them in their upgraded forms. So now the Cornet MG and the Cornet M goes up to 1800 meters, 13 damage, 1200 millimeters of explosive damage. Well, this one stays at 16. Has that 1 plus additional. Yeah, 1 plus, I believe. Only for 10 more. It seems like the Conqueror's M is the way to go. Because this is a 30 plus. Well, you do get a lot. But you only have, what, 6 shots in total? Yeah, 6 munitions. You do have 2 of them shooting at once. So I think this will be a for sure kill on any vehicle. Because the first one will break the APS. The second one will pretty much just kill it. 1200 millimeters of explosive damage. That's going to pen pretty much anything and destroy it. Or not at least 13 damage. That's going to reduce it by a lot if it doesn't destroy it. And the reload time at 5 to 6 seconds. But with that additional 1800 meters. Let's see. Let's actually compare. Let's go back to the Conquerors. So Conquerors M versus regular Conquerors. +1, +100. Yeah, so it's +1 penetration, +100. Or +1 damage, +100 penetration. Only for 10. Aim time 34, reload time 5 to 6 seconds. I could definitely see a case for getting the Cornet, but honestly, I would just take 2. I would take 2 of them and stack them, because it's going to do the same thing as the Cornet's going to do. At a cheaper, like I'm able to take, yeah, so let's go ahead and take, not with that, go on foot. Take 4 of those. And then let's see the Vetus. Let's go ahead and take this off. So, 800 millimeters explosive damage, 11 damage at 1,000 meters. Yeah, I think this is going to be, let's see what it, 1,200. Oh, no. Let's ping this. Get another one. Okay. So here are the main differences from the Metis M and the Metis. Wait, no, here we go. The M1 and the regular one. Okay, so it has for 20 more points, you get an additional 200 meters. The damage stays the same, but you're going to get an additional 100 millimeters of explosive damage. Supply weight's a little more heavier. Your supply time. And then, you also get a cord HMG. Probably better at taking down enemy helicopter units. Yep. Okay, I think the VDV Metis is probably going to be the better option here. And then you could just sort of stack these with the Quankers is what I'm thinking here. Because I could take the Cornet, but it's just, man, that only having 6 missiles. Yeah, Cornet, and then, well, it does have 2. It's going to ripple fire them. It'll pretty much pen anything. I just thought that how much it costs is just too much for me. Yeah, because taking 120 is 240. I could take 3 of these. Much better for me. So what I'm thinking here is I could stack one of each with each other. So they're going to be really going to buff each other quite a bit. You'll have the Conquerors be able to shoot first, break the APS, and then once the other unit locks on, since they have the 1200 range and that 900 millimeter explosive damage, they could hit and do a lot more damage. And then while the second one is shooting, first one's reloading, and they'll be able to get a second shot off. So I think that's what I'm thinking here, stacking these units. So I like that. And then, again, we could go for the Cornet M, but honestly, let me pin this, and then let's see. We could still use the Cornet M. Just spent 30 additional points. It does have 200 extra millimeters, 200 meters of range, 200 millimeters of explosive damage. 30 points. That's just a really pricey unit, and I want to be able to have more of them. So I'm not going to go for that unless we still have a lot of room. We do have a lot of room. Sapog or Suppose. We could take the Suppose. Honestly, I'm not really. Yeah, I'm not too keen about using this one. I've used them before. Not a big fan. We could take another infantry unit like the Marskaya, or we could take the Cornet M. You know what? I think we could give this a go. I think that would be good too, because we could have these guys just have a huge line of a bunch of anti-armor units, especially since we don't have a lot of armor capability. This will really sort of help that out a lot. So we'll take 4 of these guys. Now we still have enough room to be able to bring an anti-infantry unit, something that's more anti-infantry, which is what our VDV AGS will be. And we have 2 of these, 2 grenade launchers, so it'll be perfect, up to 800 meters. The only thing that I really don't like about these is that, unlike the Rangers, sort of AGL, they can't shoot at helicopters. But we'll go ahead and take 2 of these guys. Or no, let's see if we can take all 4. Yep, we can take 4. Now we still have a little bit of room to do some extra damage. So actually, let me click this, compare them. So we have 2 versus 1. Yeah, I think I'm liking it. And they're cheaper too. Yeah, VDV AGS is going to be what I'm going to choose. Now let's actually take some vehicles. This is what we need to do, actually. The heck? Okay, I don't want to take that. I need something cheap and fast. Here, did we take any? I like the BTF, but what about the BTRM? Yeah, see, the BT-3F has more. Let's take these. Oh, shoot. Okay. Take 3 of those, and how many do we have in total? We have 6 BTFs. That's pretty good. I think that's going to be enough for us. Speed isn't too slow at all. Yeah, 70 speed, not bad. Compared to BTR 80. It can only carry 8 units, but we have our BT3 carry 14. This one does carry 15 in comparison, which we could take, but I think I'm happy with what we have here. So we have a good lineup for infantry. Seems like this one's going to be heavy infantry use, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. Now going on to our vehicles. This is going to be a little tricky since we don't really have any APS. So we're looking for more support here than anything. So we don't have a main battle tank, so we just want something that's going to support and put a lot of pressure on other vehicles. Sort of making, even if they have a lot of heli units and with a lot of ATGMs, I want to sort of make that ineffective by having more numbers than what they can even sort of press. So let's go look at this. So we have the PT. I want something that's going to be cheap, so we could take a lot of these actually. And then how much can they pierce? 150 millimeters. So they can't do a lot of damage, but the autocannon. If we want something that's purely for doing a lot of damage towards 30 millimeter. Gonna ping this. Okay. And then we also with the we have the AG-17. So this one more for infantry. We need something that's going to be able to put more pressure on enemy vehicles and enemy helis until we figure out what we can sort of put in our other tabs. So, okay. The 57 millimeter gun here is going to be able to do more damage against heavier vehicles, 128 to 240 kinetic damage, compared to the 100 here. Yeah, okay. So the autocannon is, for the 57 millimeter, seems like the better option when it comes to doing more damage to armor units. The up armored plus 90 doesn't really do much. Upgraded engine, probably could, yeah, definitely could use that. 60 from 45. Ooh, that's terrible. I do love using the cornet. Well, yeah, this is going to be something that I would really like to use. We don't have a main tank. We could take the T80, just take damage. We could do that. So 450 does upgrade to, if we do 85, 240 to 80. So we're going to always, I think the biggest thing is just the side. So if we upgrade it again, yeah, the rear goes up 200. Sides go up by an additional 250. If we do it again, it goes up by, ooh, that's a lot. So the sides go from regular kinetic to 180, 200. So we could take this. Just the biggest thing is just keeping it safe from helicopters. That's going to be the APS as well. So if we want to have these ones, it's just going to be to soak up damage. That's literally all it's going to do. Just take hits and then pull out right away. So that's what I'm thinking when I want to use this one. Sponkers, Conquerors M. What is this going to be used for? How much? Yeah, 750. Ooh, we could use this actually. What does the comparison look like? Cornet, Conquerors. So 750, 1000 millimeters explosive damage for an addition. Just 15 more. Missiles per target, 2. Nice. Let's go ahead and take that actually. That'll be really more useful than the regular Conquerors. Yeah, well actually we'll hold this off. So we'll pin this one and compare it to the Cornet. Actually hold up, let me compare the Cornet D1 versus the ATGM. So missiles per target 2, magazine size 4. They both have the same, both reload, same aim time, same magazine size, same reload time, and same missiles per target. We have an additional 4 munitions when it comes to the Cornet here. We also get 2 of them, but we only get 1 Cornet M. This is going to be, yeah, a lot. Okay, so we minus 200 meters on effective range, minus 1 damage. We get 200 millimeters less of explosive damage. I still think it's worth it though, because you're having 2. So once you break the APS, that 1000 millimeter damage is going to do, it's going to like pen most things. So taking the Cornet, yeah, D. So let's go ahead and snap the Cornet D1 along with the 4 Cornet ATGM. And 750 versus 1000 meters. So, and missiles per target 2. This is only 1. Ooh, so I think these paired up would be really good, especially if we have them behind the T80. T80 can just take shots while these things put a lot of pressure and pain. They both have 1600 meters too, so we don't have to worry about them having a sort of big differentiation when it comes to distance. So I'm going to take, how many can we take? Let's take 3 of those. These are pretty cheap, so we'll take 6 of them. Can we take another one? Oh, we just stick to We'll stick to 3 of those. 2. Yeah, 3, 6, 3. We could take less Barrettes. And let's actually compare them, because maybe we could just take the Quartet instead of the Cornet. Well, they're both Cornets. So let's see. 1 to 2, 4. The biggest thing is going to be, well, they're going to get destroyed easily anyways. Okay, so yeah, we might just actually take the more Barrett, the BRDM instead of the Cornet. Minus that, can we take an additional? Yeah, I think this is going to be better right here. Yeah, four T80 BVMs with 8 Quartets. So basically using the Quartets to actually do the damage with the T80 to soak up all the damage from the enemy units. So I like that. We're going to stick with that. Now our support. First thing I'm going to do is get 3 Magnolias. I absolutely love these things. Take cluster round variations. You have 60 ammunitions when it comes to clusters, 30 smokes. And the biggest thing here is a 6 to 8 second aim time. Absolutely love it. Perfect. Now, we need something that's going to be able to provide. We have our anti-vehicle artillery, right? What about our counter artillery? Do we have anything to counter any of their artillery with? Let's see. Let's switch back to here. This one, it seems like it's just a light vehicle. So how much smoke can we take? 24 or 50, not bad. What's the firing rate? 6 to 8 seconds. What is the distance? 1,800 meters. Not too bad. Especially if we're just going to mainly use it for supporting infantry and taking out other infantry. The Nonka, 70. Yeah, only 9 smoke. Yeah, no, that cross elimination. Get that out of here. Vodzitka. I thought I said Godzilla at first. HE wrap. 3,000 range. Don't think they're really. It's gonna have more. It's gonna have lays. I don't think I want to use this one. It's a howitzer, so it'll be good at taking out other artillery. Well, let's look at the Barrag here. Yeah, 65, but it's 160. So 30 more just for. With the range, we're getting an additional 800 range. Yeah, 800 millimeters, which is what we really need when we're doing counter artillery. And which we're also going to really need here because of a lot of the amount of infantry that we have. And then also, since we have a lot of infantry, we want to take things that are going to be able to sort of support our infantry to be able to consistently move a lot. But let's go ahead and actually just focus first on air-to-air. I'm actually going to take Vidyas. I love Vidyas. We'll take one of these for anti-air. And then what is this one? Our Tor M2. So it's going to be able to do damage to air, missiles, and helicopters. And with radar on, high altitude range of 2, so not too bad. Panzer SA. This one can focus on 4 targets, while this one can focus on just 2. Kind of like having maybe the Tor M2. The speed isn't too crazy, but I could definitely see using this to counter missiles and air units and heli, especially if they want to be really aggressive. Because we only have one. This is our main one. I don't want to spend another one because that's going to take up a lot of our points. Our Magnolia 3 is more than enough for me. Now we need something. We have our anti-air and our anti-armor. We need anti-artillery. I'm thinking of taking the Bragg, but the Hosta does look a little nicer because of the 30 minus points. At Scanner, I don't really find it. I'm not going to need it because just honestly, using the cruise missiles, if they have radar units, they're just going to take it out. And the amount of time it takes to reload, it's just going to be too much to deal with. The Nona S. Yeah, okay. If we're bringing it for infantry support or general support, especially, it doesn't have nearly enough HE and definitely not enough smoke. So not going to take that. Not going to take the Scander. Even the Drak looks like it's going to be a lot better for infantry support. That 24 smoke, I definitely can use that. And the Magnolia does have enough smoke too as well. But this one mainly is for anti-armor. But the smoke is going to be there. Be nice to have too. The Nona, yeah, let's get that out of here. So we're not going to use that one either. So for our infantry support, we're going to go ahead and take the Jock. So we can take 4 of these. That'll be pretty good for what we needed to do. So we have our general support, infantry support, being able to provide support be able to I can't talk, be able to provide smoke support for retreats and for pushes, our Magnolia for anti-armor, Vidyas for AA. Now I kind of want to take an additional something for dealing with helis and air. We don't have our Sosna, so I think what we're going to go ahead and take is the Tor. We need something to deal with helicopters, and that's what we could do when it comes to our Tor M2. So how many can we take? We can take 2 of those, so that will deal with our air units. We could get rid of 1 Drogue and see if we can take another one of these. Oh no, we cannot. Let's see if we minus that. 3 Tor M2 DTs, because you don't really have anything else that's going to be able to effectively deal with heli units. So maybe just 2 Magnolias. Yeah, 2 Magnolias, 3 Tors, a Droke, 2 DROKs. And then we need something to be able to move our infantry pretty fast. And from the looks of it, it looks like the VDV, the Chem as VDV could do that really good for us. Yeah, well, that could take 30,000 supplies. That's a lot. So we'll go ahead and take, how many of these can we take? We'll take 3 VDV. So this will be our main form of transportation for our units up in the front lines, and able to carry some supplies as well. So now we have, what do we have? So we have anti-air, our Vidyas and our Tor, and then also the Tor counting as anti-heli. We have our anti-armor artillery. We have our anti-infantry / general support artillery, and then we have our sort of support for moving our infantry around. And if we can't utilize the BTs good enough, because they are slow. That's the biggest thing. I want to be able to move, because we don't have a lot of artillery and counter artillery, so we're not going to be able to, yeah, I don't think using the Bragg. I'd rather take the Tor, stuff that's going to be able to be more effective, because we do have anti-artillery, but they're not going to be, if we can minimize the amount of time that we're staying in the same spot, then we could really render their artillery ineffective. So I'd rather take my VDV, because it's going to be more effective at getting more supplies and units in different areas quicker than having the Bragg. Because the Bragg I'll be able to use, but once I take out enemy artillery with it, then it's just sort of being ineffective. I'd rather have the VDV and some more Tors to handle other, sort of for countering and moving. So far it looks like it's going to be really heavy on the infantry and the support, with a decent amount of vehicles. So we're still covering our bases by having a Tor for anti-heli, VDV Igla for anti-heli, and then we have a lot of anti-armor units, a lot of anti-armor. So let's go ahead and, since we're seeing that we're pretty deficient in our anti-heli area, so we're going to actually focus on trying to get some more units to be a little better in that area. So let's see, what can we find? We gotta find something that has some form of stingers. That Catran is not going to have any stingers, so we won't take this. What about the alligator? Anti-aircraft, let's see, for Igla. Can fire at helis and air units, 2 IS-8s, 40 S-8 rockets. This might be a good option. The alligator. What about middle pylons? What can we take? Could take more S-8 rockets and have 80 of them, which would be pretty beneficial as well for 245. But let's go and see if we could find something else with more Stinger missiles. So we could save the alligator. We'll put 2 alligators here just in case. We'll see if we can find anything that's better than that. HE missiles. We don't need any more Stingers. We're really good at that, so we don't need any more. Ooh, 8 Igla S. Okay. Now we're talking 90. And then we could take 40 S-8 rockets. What's the comparison? 130 millimeters explosive damage compared to 80 millimeters. Four versus... Well, let me just ping this. Okay, so we have S8 versus S13. Magazine size 20 each. We have 2 of them. 5, 2 of them. 13. So extra 100 meters for the S13s. 2 plus 2.5 damage. Blast radius of 48 meters. And plus 50 of explosive damage. Honestly, I think I'm going to go for the S-13 because I don't want to stick around long enough for other infantry and other AA vehicles to get close in on this heli unit here. Because a lot of it's just sort of getting in and out with this helicopter unit to prevent it from being killed. So we're going to go with the 10 S-13 rockets. Yeah, so more damage to get in and out quicker. What else? Do we have anything else I could do a lot of? Yes, we have 4 Igla here. What else do we have? Anything else? Again, I don't want to focus on any of the anti-armor capabilities of these units. So we're just going to look at their munitions and figure out which ones we could sort of use for anti-helicopters. Okay, I don't want to use the support for that. No, thank you. That is, yeah, we have 20 of those for Igla. MI. Transportation. We do need a transportation vehicle, though, since we only have the VDV here, the KAMAZ. So we're going to go ahead and look for something for transportation once we figure out a really good and efficient anti-heli unit. No rockets there. Protection system. ECM 225. Let's compare it to the other units that we have. So this is going to be our best one overall. We have 8. So 225. So we have 15 plus or 10 plus ECM. Seem pretty the same. Ooh, 2,400 optics is going to be really nice here for the 2,000. Yeah, 2,000 meters of distance. Okay, I'm really liking the Mikhalich, and we could also even just take in the Mi-35 for additional support. Let's compare it. So we're going to definitely take in the Mikhalich. Again, sorry if I'm saying these things wrong. We could take 4 of these too, so ping this one and then compare it to the Alligator. It's 245 to 225. The Alligator has way more HP, armor, and optics. And it has the same amount of ECM and same amount of decoy flares, just for 20 more. I say we don't have to take that. We'll take the 10, yeah. And we could actually get rid of that, making now it's even cheaper. 220 versus the 225. We'll actually take the Alligator in. Yeah, okay, perfect. That's what we want. Well, we could carry units with this one, but that's not what we're using that for. We'll use the carrying for the other one. So get rid of this. We have 2. These are all for anti-infantry and anti-helicopter, which is perfect. So we already have a lot of infantry. We have anti-armor capability. We just need more anti-heli capability to make sure they're not pushing in on us. And that takes care of that. Mikhalich and Alligator, they have really good armor and HP, so I don't expect these things to die pretty easily. So now let's go ahead and worry about transportation and supply units. So which ones do we have for supplies and transportation? We have the Zeleny, the Mi-38, MIAM. So let's go ahead and just do some process of elimination here. Get rid of anything that has munitions. We don't want to worry about munitions. We just want to worry about a 20,000 versus 3,000, 7,000. 85 carry capacity. That's pretty good. 255 versus 275. And since we're mainly going to be doing the backline, we already have enough transportation units. We could actually go ahead and... I need a higher capacity of the amount of supplies could lift. But are we ever going to actually take 20,000? I'm not sure. So it might be better just to go ahead and stick with the Mi-38 first. And then if we have enough room, take a couple of these. Nice. Okay, so this will be our heavy. If we need to take a lot of supplies and even a lot of units, we'll take the Mi-26. And then we have some more room for other units as well. But actually, this is good enough for this. This is exactly what I need. So we'll stop here. We have our anti-heli air units, which is perfect, and also anti-infantry for getting in and out with our 10 S-13 rockets that we have here, which would be perfect for just dealing damage quickly, sort of hit and run style with our helicopters. Now let's go ahead and switch over to air, which we have a lot of. So let's go ahead and look for some seed and bombers. Since we don't have a lot of vehicles, and we don't have a lot of anti-air. We kind of want to own the air while also being able to utilize that air superiority with bombing. So let's go ahead and look for some seed. The TU, not the TU, SU-35S, I believe. Let's see if it has... It should have some seed, if I remember. One of the SUs have seed. First, we're just looking for a seed first and foremost. And we will take one that has pretty good for bombing. I hope I'm not missing it. Where is our seed, miss? Do we not have any seed? SU-57? Here we go. Okay, now we have our anti-radiation. We need more anti-radiation. Perfect. So we have 4 anti-radiation missiles here. Ooh, but it costs 395. That is quite expensive. But I believe they typically are. So we'll take 2 of them. That's going to be enough. We have 240 gas. So that should be good enough to be able to even keep them in the back. And like if we are aware of some radar, then we'll take him in the middle, flying him at a low altitude. And we do have 2 R-73s here and be able to take down some drones if we're able to. But that's not what we're going to do for this one. We're going to focus mainly on anti-radar. But just to make sure that we're not missing anything, let's go ahead and look for 237. Are these AA? 2 R-37 long range AA. Okay. Now we need to look for. We have our seed. Now we need to find a unit that's able to take down other air units. Sort of own the skies, but we need a cost-effective one, right? One that's not going to be too expensive. So 240, 900 speed, 12,000 optics, inner pylons, 2+ fuel tanks. We don't... Oh, we could actually keep the fuel tanks. Medium range, 77, 7,000 meters. 2 R-73s and 2 R-77s. I would probably prefer just to have 2 R-77s or 4 R-77s. Since this is going to be mainly for dealing with other air units. We could actually take just 2 of them, so that we have 4. Make it a little cheaper, 225. Now let's compare this to other ones that we have. Don't need all that. R-77. Oh, we do have some anti-radiation here. Let's see if this is going to be cheaper with anti-radiation. So this was the one that I was looking for. How much cheaper is this one? 385, 395. 4, 8,000 meters. 8,000. Which one has a better stealth? Let's compare these two. Okay, so what is the biggest difference? The MiG-35 only has 1 stealth rating compared to the 1.25. Speeds are the same. Gonna have more gas on my SU-57. I think I'll stick with the SU-57 for seed. Seems like it's going to be better since we also have the gas for extended time on the field. Okay, now let's go ahead. So we have the SU-33 that we put in for... the SU-34 that we have when it comes to... No, where's our bomber? Which I'm getting confused with all these. Okay, no, our... MiG-29K, so pick this one here, and MiG-35. So we could take 1 fuel tank plus an R-77. That's a medium range R-77 to 7,000. So can we get another medium range AA? Okay, perfect. 325 to 255. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the MiG-29K. It doesn't have as much ECMs, but that price difference is just not worth it. And I have more fuel tanks with my MiG here. We do have 6. So if I just make it cheaper, yeah, 240. Now we have just 4. No, still not worth it. Yeah, 300. 45 more. That's just too much. We already have our anti-radiation one here, and the SU-57, R-77, R-77. We do get 2 more, but... And I could even take another R77 and make it 280. And it only has 120. I mean, we do want to keep just really use this in and out with. But is it really going to be able to get all those shots off? 6 of them. We'll try it. I think that'll be getting better anyways. But we only have. Oh no, they make 29k. I meant to bring that one. We only have 2 of them. I need something more for fighting. Let's see how the SU-35S fares, since there is 4 of them. So long range AA, 2 of those. Inner pythons. We need some more. Long range AA. Where's that? R37. Yeah, 9,000 meters. That's pretty good. If we get more R37s, 2 R37s. Look how much, but yeah, 410. That's a lot. $380 and with ECM pods, just ECM 350. That's just, yeah, that's too much. We could take out the long range AA and just get fuel tanks. How much is it gonna get? 285. Let's see what this does. R77. Just take 4 R77s. ECM pods. So now it's 285 compared to the. We have 4 7,000. Let's ping this. Ping the MiG 22.9. So it's only 6 compared to 4. It is 5 points more. 10 plus ECM. More fuel. Yeah, I think I'll stick with my MiG 29k. Those extra shots. It does have less fuel by a lot. But I could see a case for using the SU-35S. So I wonder if... Because using 120 of them, I do want them to bug out really quick. But these guys are... I'm mainly going to use them for just sort of getting in and out really quick. But there's just not that much of them. But most of the Russian air is kind of expensive. So we could also just take in the SU-85s as well. And use this more as a... Keep it in the back, and then if we need to use it to take out drones, we could take it. So we have our seed and our other... the air ones that we want to use for fighting other air. What about bombers? Do we have anything for bombers? Don't want to use air to ground. I need some high... Air to ground. Nope. So it doesn't look like we have any... Yep, so we're not going to use SU-30SM. I need some high drag bombs now. So the 24, I believe this is that's a free fall. Free fall. Do we have any high drag? No, no, we do not. I'm looking for high drag. That way they can fly in at under a low altitude and drop bombs. That's what I'm mainly looking for. Here we go. High drag bomb. 130. Wow. Okay. Well, it does 200 millimeters of explosive damage. There's 6 of them. It comes at a price of 490. Wow. Crazy. Thermal barrack. 2 thermal barrack. Free fall. I don't want free fall. Two fab. High drag bomb. Those will probably do damage against mainly infantry. What about the incendiary? Another high drag. We could actually use this for dropping bombs. Or dropping this instead. Make it a little cheaper. Don't need any AA at all. Now we have 10. That is a lot. Look how expensive it is now. 510. Okay, now it's 320. So we have 6 RBK 500s with 2 ZB 500s. So we have it's a high drag bomb, does incendiary and top armor damage. Top armor damage and a cluster. So this should be good enough for what we want to do with it. It's not the best, but we could just make it purely for cluster. But I want to do some damage to enemy infantry. So we're going to take the incendiary. We could actually change that for that, and then oh, we can't. No, it's too expensive. Okay, we'll just leave it at that and see how much we could take. We can only take one of those. What if we take something else out from over? We'll take one of these out and then see if we could add one of these. Still too expensive by 75 points. We could get rid of one Mi-38. Now that should be enough. Okay, now this is looking pretty decent. I would like taking the Su-35S, but we can't make it much cheaper than what we have. Like 230 could do that. So now it's really cheap. And how many can we take if we get rid of that? Doesn't have the best ECM. What if we could get rid of one unit that is 80? Might be beneficial to take that as well. What could we remove? Desant Nikki. I don't really want to get rid of that. Could get rid of one VDV sniper. One PDSS maybe? Yeah, we could take one PDSS. And I think with that we can actually finish this off. But we don't have a lot of munitions and good ECMs. I think that having more numbers is going to be really beneficial since we'll be able to put more units on the ground. Because if we only have 2 and we use them in the beginning and they get shot down, then we can't really do much. And if they have drones and we can't take them out, say we get our AAs killed, then at least we have an additional air unit to be able to deal with those. I think having, because we have too little and they get taken out, it's just, then dang, I'm stuck waiting for them. But if I make sure that I keep one in reserve to really use it at a time that it's necessary, then I think it's much more beneficial than just having 2 better units to make 29Ks. So I'll go ahead and stick with the Su-35S. Does have more fuel, so I could keep them in the back, fly at low altitude, just in case they bring out a bomber or something that I need to take out, and that'll be good for me. So now let's go and take a quick overview at all of our units. And see what we got here. So we take a look here. We do have, let me get rid of that. We do have pretty much everything that we need. So we're covering all our bases. We're keeping a balanced approach. We have a lot of reconnaissance units. We have things that could, we have units for CQC. I believe that is the Spetsnaz. We have our snipers for lasing enemy units. We have our VDV Reds Vecta for backline support and disrupting the enemy backline. We have PDSS to watch our flanks. We have our Orion and our foreposts for other intel gathering. We have a really good lineup of infantry here. A lot of anti-armor capability, Cornet, Metis, and Conkers. We have our AGS for anti-infantry, our Desanki for basic infantry and some basic infantry support, Igla for anti-helis. We have our Vartet and our T-80M, T-80B to counter enemy vehicles, but to soak up damage, and then our Vartet to really actually do the most damage to the enemy vehicles. Our Magnolia for anti-armor, our Vityaz for anti-air, Drak for general infantry support, providing smoke and cover, and also weeding out other infantry. Our Taurus for dealing more anti-heli damage, our Cam-Az for supplying our front lines and bringing and transporting other units to different various locations, and a lot of our helis for a lot of anti-heli capability. So, and transportation, and then we have for our air units, we have jet fighters to kill other air units. We have our Su-34s to drop bombs, anti-infantry and anti-armor, and our Su-57s to deal with seed. So we pretty much, again, literally an all-rounder deck, which is what I like to do when it comes to all of my decks. So just a balanced approach. Again, if you guys want to sort of understand the sort of way I think about things, the way that I think about these things conceptually and sort of the theories and whatever I'm thinking about, then I'll link these videos that I'll put on the screen above here, and I'll put the links in the description below to the videos that actually go in more depth about the foundation that I use to approach deck building. Well, this is going to be it. I know I said that I wanted to do 2 US and 2 Russian decks, but honestly that's going to take way too long. So I think just doing one of each, showing you how I think about things and how I am able to supplement areas of deficiency in order to make up for it and to still be effective overall, is what I really wanted to get through in these videos here. So that's going to be it for our part 2. Hope you guys really got a lot out of this. Again, it's an all-arounder approach for both the decks, for the test deck 1 and test deck 2. So again here, an all-rounder approach, test deck 2, all-rounder approach. So it's pretty good, again, and hopefully you guys take something out of this, and it helps you in the future and how to approach the game, and it helps you win more games and just make you a little bit more comfortable with handling situations. Because in each of these decks that we created, there isn't a situation that is going to be presented to us that we're not going to be able to deal with, right? We have infantry for dealing with armor, we have infantry for dealing with other infantry, we have infantry with dealing with helis, we have enough reconnaissance units, we have vehicles, we have anti-air, anti-heli, we have everything that we need to really be a force on the battlefield and to counter other units, right? And if we don't have units to specifically counter other units, like we don't have any artillery to counter other artillery, well, we make up for it in other ways. You don't need to always counter a unit with a different unit that is directly opposed to that unit, right? You could counter in other ways. Like, in order to make artillery completely ineffective is that you're too fast for it. You're always consistently moving. Now you're countering it by simply not having a unit to counter it, but by just being strategical in your movements and really intentional and being mindful of what you're doing and where you are. So that's going to be pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys do enjoy this content, then make sure you guys are subscribing and liking this video, and also commenting for further video suggestions and things that I can improve on in these videos. And also, if you guys want to find a really good community to join, then join our Discord. The link will be in the description below. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one.